Have it there, a message there, tribute there by Lawrence Ndzanga, the grandson of Rita Ndzanga, of course named after the late husband of Rita Ndzanga, who died in detention after being tortured by the apartheid government in 1977. We continue here at the Dlamini Multipurpose Community Center, even outside, reflecting on the lives and times of Rita Ndzanga, her contribution. I'm now joined by two women leaders of the ANC, and both of them have been playing leadership roles here in Gauteng. The current deputy chairperson of the ANC, Nomantu, and the former deputy chairperson, Nomvula. Let me start with the current one first. Let's get the new, fresh voice first. Your reflections on the late stalwart.
On the late stalwart, my reflection is that she was one of the disciplined women who are leading in the ANC. We are all following Mama's footsteps because we all wanted to be like her. And I was reminding some of my comrades that she was a member of the legislature. She was disciplined even at the legislature. She used to tell us how we should behave when we were there and what needs to be done by a person who is a woman but leading in the ANC with men in the ANC, so that don't forget the dignity that you must represent, the moral ground that Mama always preserved. She was one of those ethical leaders when we want to talk about ethics in the ANC.
Now, when you hear that, I mean, it's a powerful story of somebody disciplined and committed. And everybody I've been speaking to this afternoon, Mvula, that's a recollection they have. What about you?
Marita was also a parent to us. She worked with my late husband in the General and Allied Workers Union. And also when she was coordinating the Saru strike, the Saru,
the railway,
yes. She was amongst the strike committee together with our comrade Jesse. And amongst other things that she was doing, she used to sew the dashikis, the shirts for detainees, for comrades who are coming from prison. But of importance, she asserted her presence in her own way within a very conservative sector. The Railway and Harbour, the Transport and General Workers Union, the General and Allied Workers Union. But also when I became one of the organizers of the Federation of Transvaal Women, and after Sister Bennett had taken me to Masisulu, the women I worked with in the rural areas through the Transvaal Rural Action Committee was Ndzanga. Her passion for food security, her passion for daycare centers, but of importance, the issues around the rights of women. The rights of women and the right of women to be active in the struggle. I will forever appreciate it. Just last year, during the soft lockdown of COVID, when we came to her place, she was actually saying, I can't wait for the lockdown to be lifted because we've got a lot of work to do.
So she was really working hard right to the end. I'm told just 10 days before she passed on, she was at a commemoration of this year's Women's Day, 9th of August, paying tribute to stalwarts like May Lillian Ngoyi and May Helen Joseph. That speaks to sacrifice right to the end. That speaks to staying true to the cause right to the end.
Absolutely, because she was even doing door-to-door campaigns. We used to come to the ward here. Mama was doing all those door-to-door campaigns. And if you didn't tell her that you will be coming to this ward where she resides, she will tell you that never do that again. I'm part of the ANC. I want to see the activism that the ANC wants us to do, of doing these door-to-door campaigns, but help the citizens. Don't just come to the house and not assist people. Exactly what Comrade Nomvula is raising, of a passion of assisting citizens.
Serving the people. Apparently, she made a comment. I was not at the commemoration. Colleagues of mine were there covering it, that appealing to ANC women, like you are members of the Women's League, saying, please do something. Take care of the ANC. It's dying because of the wrong things.
Ndzanga, on the 15th of June this year, amongst other things that she said was that it is time that ANC women come together with all our challenges, with all our diversities, and help to rebuild the African National Congress. And hence you can see we have leaders like Abo Nomantu who are assuming responsibility in the organization, and hence you also see the serious work that is being done going to the National Conference about the non-compromises around the representation of women. And the other thing that is quite important about what Ndzanga said on the 15th of June this year, to myself, Comrade Faith, and other comrades who had come to her just to celebrate the Youth Month early with her, was also the issue of rebuilding the African National Congress in a manner where it is open and accessible to ordinary South Africans.
Where the ANC has been found wanting recently is the issue of corruption, for example. ANC adopting all sorts of resolutions like the step aside to try to renew itself, as we are told. And apparently she was very concerned about the fact that there's a lack of ethical leadership.
Oh yes, she was. Hence we felt that we can't disappoint her. We must stick to the resolutions of the conference and make sure we do things correctly, as Mama Ndzanga, even and other stalwarts, will want us to do.
Going forward, her legacy, how do you take it forward?
We must rebuild the trade union movement. We can't have a trade union movement that is dominated by the public sector. We must actually get into the industrial sector and build a strong trade union movement. We must make the ANC Women's League to be a vibrant organization, not an extension of the ANC. Our voices must be heard, but of importance, we must take the ANC to ordinary members of our communities.
And ANC Women's League should be representative of more than just ANC women. Are you going to be campaigning in her name? Because one of the things she stood for in the labor movement was a progressive labor movement. I mean, she was detained almost at the same time as the likes of Jabu Ngwenya at the time that Neil Agate was killed at John Foster Square in Johannesburg.
No, you are right. It can't be only the ANC women. And that's what we have been saying, that we want to bring even professionals to be part of the Women's League. And I think we are bringing them now. And we want to broaden the scope so that every woman who feel that they want to be part of the struggle for women emancipation, women empowerment, must join the Women's League and assist us.
Just to also remind you, at the age of 23, she was not an organizer of the Women's League. She was an organizer of the Federation of South African Women, an all-inclusive movement, which today it's not existing. The machinery that exists, like the Women's Coalition, are all at their weakest. And reality is, if you have a weak Women's League...
How do you unite the women of South Africa? If you speak of that history of the Federation of Women of South Africa that you worked with as well when you were younger. I was speaking to a former second deputy president of COSATU earlier, Mr. Lidwaba, and he was saying we need to unite. Yeah, we need to unite the labor movement. And just yesterday at the union buildings, we saw the trade union federations coming together and say the working class needs to come together. What about the women of South Africa?
Here is something that must bring us together, just as the women of 1956. The issue of gender-based violence and femicide, the cost of living. This cuts across political affiliation. Those who are hardest hit are women.
And it has to be done on a non-racial basis because Rita Ndzanga believed in that way back.
It doesn't even have to be done, it has to be, because it cuts across racial lines. Remember, even with 1956, every racial group was represented in that delegation, but women responded, all of them, because they were conscientized about the implication of African women carrying compasses. Madam knew that the housekeeper will not be able to come to work. Same with us now. The issue of gender-based violence cuts across. The issues of the cost of living cuts across. The issues that have to do with the socio-economic conditions of our people in the rural areas have an impact even in the urban areas because of the migration.
So would you say, Nomantu, that the best way you think of honoring the legacy of Rita Ndzanga would be to unite the women of South Africa to together focus on these challenges that Nomvula is talking about?
Absolutely. I think that's the program that even Comrade Nomvula have started at the national office. We have seen us in courts now. We are not only Women's League women that are there. We bring other women. But now we need to go out to all the communities, educate women, so that they can see what is it that we expect from them when we say we must be united. So we'll definitely do that practically now.
And finally, she stood for ethical leadership. Can I get your parting thoughts on how that can be engendered today? And many people say we can't trust the ANC because we've seen the wrongs and the mistakes that have happened, including at the state capture.
It is all of us, myself included, who are committed to self-correction, to renewal, to rehabilitation, and that calls on each and every individual to take a stand in that regard.
Nomantu?
Absolutely, we must just renew ourselves, correct ourselves under the name Kama Rita.
Thank you very much. That's Nomantu Nkomo Ralihoko. She's the Deputy Chairperson of the ANC in the province of Gauteng, with Nomvula Mukonyane, who used to be also a Deputy Chairperson of the ANC in the province. Currently, she's a member of the National Executive Committee of the ANC, responsible for organizing. They were just sharing our views, and Nomantu Nkomo Ralihoko is also an MEC for Finance here in the province of Gauteng on behalf of the governing ANC. Now, I'm going to speak to the younger people now. I'm going to be joined by Vuyisile Plaki. He's ANC Youth League in Gauteng, but he's also a member of the provincial task team that is busy in trying to reignite the fortunes of the ANC Youth League, together with the Secretary General, National Secretary General of COSAS, the students' movements, the Congress of Students of South Africa, Tebogo Magafane. Vuyisile and Tebogo, welcome and thanks for your time.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir.
Vuyisile, young as you are, what's your tribute to a stalwart like Rita Ndzanga, or to you maybe Gogo Rita Ndzanga?
Yes, it's Gogo. We draw much from her simply because when it was not fashionable, when it was not easy, she would have left her family to ensure that she galvanized and ensure that the young people stand up and truly fight for what they believe and ensure that we get what today we're enjoying, this freedom. So definitely we draw inspiration from her, and we would really want to follow in her footsteps in ensuring that we revitalize the organization, we ensure that we take the ANC and the ANC Youth League back to its former days of glory.
What about the students?
Thank you very much. Look, when you see Gogo, you see Mama Winnie. Remember, they were close.
And in fact, in 1969, they were in the same tribe together. They were arrested together.
Yes, hence I'm saying that when we see Mama, we see Mama Winnie, and now we have lost a true a veteran of the movement, unlike a veteran that we're having today in the ANC. Because of Mama, she was a Gogo, she was a unifier. But today you see veterans of the ANC dividing the organization. Look, the ANC is in crisis. We need veterans who will guide young people, not to cause divisions within the movement. A typical example, in Litule House, you have a president of a Veterans League who's dividing the movement. So we so wish that we can have veterans like Gogo.
But for her legacy to bring that unity, I've heard this message of that she was a unifier. She really lived unity in the ANC, even when she was a trade unionist, uniting the labor movement so many years ago. How can that be achieved?
Look, what we need to do as young people, we need to unite against our elders. That's it. Because as young people, we are united. It's them who are dividing us because of their selfish interest. So where we are, and we're preparing to go to the Youth League Congress and the COSAS Congress, we need to unite ourselves. So comrades, we're going to ANC conference in December. We need to remove elders who don't love ANC, and we name them. We have a list of those who must leave the ANC, so that young people can enter and lead and save the ANC, so that the ANC can be the ANC of our people, not ANC of factionalism.
Is that the best way of honoring her legacy?
Look, we need to inject new blood into the organization. Simply because elders who are now in charge, they are not doing justice to the organization and the people of South Africa as a whole. Because we do not give our people quality services that we would have promised them, simply because of factionalisms within the ANC and these elders who are only interested in themselves and these top positions. not in ensuring that we service our people.
I mean, she's been described to me as somebody who was selfless, who was humble, who didn't put herself first, but put others first.
Look, we can't deny that. That's why we are here to honor her. Unlike others in our movement, they're selfish. Look, we have so many problems in our society, and those problems, they need ANC. ANC is not a problem. That's why today we are here. And that's why even today we are still members of the ANC. Because ANC is not a problem. Individuals, especially in that NEC, you have leaders when we raise issues, they are threatening us. Ukoko will call us and guide us. I remember when we had a problem with the President Mbeki, she called us. By the way, she was staying in Dlamini. She called us, say, party calls us, hey, you need to. We said, no, Koko, look, we don't have a problem with President Mbeki, he's our president. But how he behaved, we must deal with him decisively. Today, look, my leader, in the ANC, we have leaders like Derek Enoko. We have leaders like Snuki Zigala. They don't love ANC, they love themselves. They want to destroy ANC, they want to finish ANC. Today in the ANC-led government, we're no longer having ANC-led government, we have a police state government. When you start speaking your view, you will be arrested. So
how do you find space then in the ANC to express these views that you are making? You've said there are certain leaders that you believe must not be re-elected as the members of the ANC come December.
That is by ensuring that, to start with, young people must be united for the sake of the organization and the voters who continue to vote for the ANC. That way, we will ensure that young people, as many as they are, they swell into ranks of the NEC. We are not saying everyone must go. Institutional memory is important, but there must be an infusion of young people so that this organization can go forward and we can relate with times. Because now the ANC has become irrelevant. It has become irrelevant. We have detached from society because we are only focused because of ourselves and our selfish interests.
What kind of leadership do you believe as young people will help the ANC reconnect?
Look, young, dynamic, and decisive. We need decisiveness in this country.
I agree with my Kate here. We need young people who are decisive. Look, we are not saying all people must leave. Remember, we still have old people who have vision. And you can't remove all of them. But you need to remove those who are liabilities in the movement. We need assets. I can tell you and my brother, some of us, me and my leader, were assets of the movement. And they can't deny it. But because they have political jealousy, I can tell you after this interview, I can tell you where they are. They're butchering us, saying those ones, they must not, but they like it or not, we are going to lead. They don't own the ANC. ANC belongs to our people, and we are members of ANC. And all of us, including Kwete, we have same membership. That Kwete says to us, for us to, we want to access the resources. We were taught by him to access the resources.
Okay. Thank you for your views. I mean, very, very militant views indeed by the young people here. That's Vuisi Leplaki of the provincial task team of the ANC Youth League in Gauteng, and Tebu Khomagafane, the Secretary General of COSATU International Leadership. Thank you very much. The program is continuing inside, and we're going to take you back there inside so you are able to follow a little bit more. We are here at the official memorial service in memory, of course, or in honor of Rita Ndzanga, a struggle stalwart who died last week at the age of 88. In case you're just joining us here on Today on eNCA, DSTV channel 403. The program here has started. There were messages from the family, including Lawrence Ndzanga, the grandson of Rita Ndzanga. And also we've been hearing the obituary that was read. And according to the program, from what I understand, in terms of what is said to be happening next, we are going to be hearing more speakers, including messages of condolences from organizations like the Trade Union Federation, COSATU. We've heard that she was a trade unionist at heart for many, many years, having led the formation of the General Allied Workers Union in South Africa in the 70s. We're also likely to hear from the likes of the South African Communist Party, from Ahmed Kathrada, and later the keynote tribute will be made by Thabo Mbeki, who, when he was president of South Africa in 2000, 2004, he awarded Rita Ndzanga the Order of Luthuli in silver. Let's take you back in